The crisis has been expanding since I was in northern Iraq just about a year ago. 1 million more refugees have fled into neighboring countries. The people that I met lived in cities, they drove cars, they went to school, they had jobs, and then suddenly the bombs started falling. Suddenly they started seeing their neighbors being blown apart. They saw their schools being ripped apart. They lost their jobs, they lost their education, they lost loved ones. They saw loved ones be brutalized and tortured, and they had to flee atrocities. Sometimes we just think in terms of numbers, and numbers have their value. It's important to know that we are now have almost 4 million Syrian refugees. But at the same time, each and every one of those 4 million people is a human life, each with a very specific story, each with a particular set of circumstances, each with a set of dreams and aspirations. I had a chance to meet with a very extraordinary young lady. Her name was Mizun. She's 16 years old. She has been kind of affectionately called the Malala of Syrian refugees because she is such an absolute, unabashed, passionate advocate for education. She's like indomitable. I said, why is education important to you? You know, and she said, it's because it's the only way you can understand your world. It's the only way you can function in your world. It's the only way you can actually be a member of society, not a burden to it. She said, I want to see girls in school uniforms, not wedding dresses. The situation for Syrian refugees hasn't gotten better, and in fact has gotten worse. But you know, the funding hasn't been able to keep up with that, so there's a big funding gap. And you know, and I saw that everywhere I went. When I went to refugee camps, when I went to urban areas, which makes for a very painful process of decision making for frontline staff like UNHCR. Hassan is a 75-year-old man with a very kind of a light-hearted, jovial demeanor. He lives with 14 other family members. So there's 15 of them living in a basement. This family's main source of income is the cash assistance program from UNHCR. I asked Hassan what would happen if your family wasn't receiving this cash from UNHCR. It was clear through his answer that they would be in serious trouble, that the children would not be able to go to school, that they would not have proper food and clothing. And he said that that would not be acceptable to him. You know, he said it's really their lifeline. I walk away with a sense of great admiration for refugees, as I always do. As a person, as a human being, with a sense of real sadness for what's going on. The stories that I heard are unbelievably heartbreaking. But at the same time, with a great sense of awe and admiration as to the lengths to which people go to survive. You know, some of the people that I met on this trip, it's unlikely I'll ever be able to forget again.